So thank you, Nick. Thank you, Shibu and Luann and others who put this event together. I appreciate the opportunity to participate and to be considered for your endorsement and to share some of my views and values with the larger community. So my name is Dori Gilels. I'm a candidate for City Council Ward 3. When I arrived in Missoula in the early 90s, it was really love at first sight. And since then, I've never really thought about being anywhere else. Over the last 28 years, I've had the privilege of studying, raising a family, and working in leadership positions for a number of local organizations in this community. I was the executive director of the nonprofit Women's Voices for the Earth for a number of years. I co-owned Mom-Load magazine for over a decade, and I have years of service on boards and advisory committees, the Montana Academy of Distinguished Entrepreneurs, the UM School of Journalism, Friends of Missoula Parks, Mountain Home, and many others. I believe this is a great place to live because we have a highly engaged citizenry and because many great Missoulians have given service to this community before me. And it's really an honor to know some of them and be supported by them. And I see this as my opportunity to do the same. I started thinking seriously about running for city council a couple of years ago, and I've taken deliberate steps to further my understanding of the work and responsibilities of our local government. I joined the University District Neighborhood Council leadership team in 2019, where I currently serve as co-chair, and I participated in both the Local Government Citizens Academy and the Citizens Law Enforcement Academy a couple years ago. For me, there's no question that local government is where my head and heart align. And I was inspired to run because I really want to protect the quality of life that I think makes Missoula so special. And so for me, I'm campaigning on livability, and really that entails attention to a lot of different things that make a community livable, including affordability, a healthy built and natural environment, the culture, economic prosperity, equity, health, and safety. And I've been committed to all of these things, and I'm passionate about all of these things because trade-offs are present in everything we do, and we really need to strive for the greatest balance of all of these things that make our community livable. The more I learn, the more humbled I am by the work of our city council. I think we are living in complex times, but I'm really enjoying the journey, and I'm eager to be of service. And I think that our investment in local leadership is more important than ever, and I really believe it's where I can make a difference. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great question. So first and foremost, I think it's important to be well informed about the issue on the table. I think that includes looking at data and facts and figures. I think it includes consultation with city staff. I think it includes an examination of current city policies. I'm not afraid to ask good questions. I don't think any question is a dumb question. I'm an independent thinker, and I certainly think the views of my constituents are really important. And that's why during this campaign, I'm spending a considerable amount of time knocking doors and really collecting input from constituents in Ward 3 so that I can go into this service with real on the ground knowledge of what people are concerned about and what they care about. Yeah, thank you. This is a great question. I'll start by saying that in 2015, when John Krakauer published the book Missoula, I wrote an opinion piece about this. And I was incredibly disappointed in the reaction of Missoula to want that book to go away, because I felt like it was precisely what we needed to start talking about these issues. I don't think, I do think that this is an issue that's bigger than police. It's a societal issue. I don't think it's ever going to be done or over or good enough in terms of, how we treat this issue. Until we live in a society where girls, women, and other vulnerable members can dress, drink, be merry without becoming victims, I think we have work to do. I will say, as I mentioned earlier, I participated in the police academy. I learned about a number of folks in that department working passionately and diligently on these issues. So I'm certainly encouraged by the progress and the dedication. I also am aware that the police department is participating in a new pilot program with the Department of Justice and the Confederated Salish Kootenai Tribe to develop a better system of coordinating and communicating about missing and murdered Indigenous women and developing protocols for those cases, which I think is a wonderful development. So I think we are certainly, we have taken this out from under the rug, and I think that's incredibly important. And I think, we definitely need to continue to keep it front and center and continue to do the work. Thanks. That's a great question. I'll start by saying that there are a variety of things I'd be interested in doing, but the state legislature has really tied the hands of local government this last session, and there are a variety of things I think Missoula and the citizenry would be supportive of that we're not going to be able to do, at least in the short term. And I'll just mention a couple of those and then mention another, which is, things like banning single-use plastic. I know there's tons of community support for something like that, but the legislature has precluded our ability to do something like that. On the doors, I hear a lot of people talk about, their concern about increasing property taxes, and we have an outdated, regressive tax policy at the state level. There are things we could do locally to address it with looking at new sources of tax revenue, but the state legislature, again, has precluded our ability to do that, even went so far as to repeal the local option gas tax that was passed by voters. The other thing I would say is with regard to climate change, I'm really excited about looking at ways we can incentivize developers around our climate policy and building with climate sensitivity, both new and retrofitted construction. And I think there's a lot of room there to look at incentives for doing so, perhaps through local policies and ordinances. And I have, a lot more things, but I'll stop there. Thanks. Okay, thanks so much. Thanks to all of you again for having us here tonight. Experience and collegiality are two of my greatest assets. I have decades of relevant work history and life experience here in Missoula. I believe people are our greatest resource, and that Missoula is a wonderful place to live because we have a healthy civic culture. I'm super committed to building on that. Since the beginning of my campaign, I've walked over 100 miles of Ward 3, reaching thousands of voters through door knocking, and I've had over 100 meetings with a wide range of community leaders, because this isn't just about me. My responsibility as a public servant is to understand what Missoulians, and specifically my constituents, need and think, and use that as my filter for how I make decisions and serve. And I think the how we serve is super important. I'm a critical and independent thinker and entrepreneur, and I think our greatest challenges can be opportunities. We're living in dynamic times, and the work of city council is increasingly complex. And I think we need a local policy-making body capable of intelligent, thoughtful, and respectful decision-making, deliberations, and debates. And I would be honored to serve and have your support. Thanks.